Hey everybody, it's Clint. Welcome to Sweetcast. I want to talk about the Warner Media slash Discovery merger, and I don't think it's actually okay. I think everyone's making a big fuss out of DC Comics shifting hands, the corporate hands, and I think there's too much focus on the corporateness, the corporate nature of comics, and I don't see things moving that direction at all. If you're interested in comics, that is. So I'm gonna get into that first. Downcast, rise. I was gonna say Rise and Fall. Downcast Submerged. It's Downcast Volume 3 is coming to Indiegogo on June 1st. You can sign up for the pre-launch page. It's in the link in the description below. Or if you're on the mailing list, that's great too. But if you back within the first 24 hours, you're going to get this. Really, this was done by Christian Rossi for the t-shirt. And instead of just having it for a t-shirt, it just feels a little bit limited that way. If you back the first day, I'm going to get this printed out as a poster. We did it in flat colors so it would work for screen printing because I want nice t-shirts this time. The best t-shirts I can get. So I think screen printing is probably the route to go. But I figured this would be a great poster too. I just love the design on here and it's kind of cool seeing it in flat colors. I quite like that. So sign up and get in the first day. All right. What does Warner Media slash Discovery merger mean for DC Comics? Well, let me tell you what it means. It means that DC Comics is like a child in the divorce. That's maybe a bad, I don't know. They are the least of these big corporations' concern. They like the characters. They like that they can exploit those characters. But the more that I think about it, if there was never another Batman comic ever to be written or created and Batman was only used for television, I'm not sure that comic books would actually change that much from the direction that they're going right now. This is a good example of, because the profit margins are so slim, because it's just not a big property to these major corporations. They don't care that much about comic books. So it actually, in a roundabout way, puts a lot more power into your hands. If you're an independent comic book creator, it makes an awful lot more sense for you to be making comics, because those profit margins that to them seem like nothing, that's actually an opportunity for a small creator. You don't have the massive, series of middlemen and people that need to get paid, out of all of this mess, even just the intellectual property alone. Can you imagine how many royalty checks DC Comics is sending out constantly for all of the properties that they have that they will owe people royalties for? It's so much money, let alone current comic book creators working on those books that should be getting page rates. It ends up being just massive. Their costs have to be huge. So that's an advantage to the indie creator because you can work in that system. Not only that, but because comic book shops really aren't selling that many comics, I mean, you're still talking about, there are issues. There are sales happening in comic book shops, but it doesn't really matter all that much with so many new readers moving over to buying comics direct, buying them direct from, comic book creators. It really is a win-win situation. So the weirdest part about this is I see so many people that would normally be against big corporations really defending and rooting for big corporations to win and save the day and, save all this IP that they all supposedly care so much about. But they don't care. They don't want to be the saviors of these comic books. They want to be making money off of that IP. And however they can do that, they're going to do that. I'm going to guess that they probably are making more money off just the Batman logo by sticking it on merchandise than they are off Batman comic books. How much easier is that for them to do as well? It's a lot easier. A lot easier. In the meantime, comic book fans that care about comics they're turning to crowdfunding. They're turning to, again, just direct sales. The more that the market warms up to the idea of not going to a comic book shop and buying direct from creators and looking around on the internet, and it ends up being actually part of the fun of hunting for books that you're interested in reading. I think that that is the way that things are going, and that we're going to see a lot more of this sort of cottage industry as opposed to these big corporations. They can't actually compete on that kind of playing ground, because they don't care to compete. It costs them so much to go that direction. So there's something to be said for being more nimble. Anyway, I want to know what your thoughts are on this. It's interesting to see all the different takes coming out on it, and a lot of people are trying to be very positive on why nothing's going to change for DC Comics. No big deal. They'll just move forward. But it's not so much this particular deal that has me not really worried, but seeing the writing on the wall. It's the fact that they keep having these major changes in such a short period of time, one after another after another. To me, that is the bigger concern for DC Comics. Things are changing so rapidly for them. People are losing their jobs in comics so rapidly that I don't know, it just doesn't make sense that it's going to stick around the way that it has been. I have no predictions for DC Comics, and I don't really care all that much. Can I say that? I just don't care. There's so much interesting things happening in indie comics, and I think more talented people are going to be bringing their best stuff to the world of independent comics. I'm even thinking, Eric Canetti is so good. His artwork is so good. He's doing his own series. I'm not sure I think it's launching in the fall or something, but I know the guy has, I don't know how much I can say, but he's got a lot done, a lot more than you might think done for a comic book series before launching a campaign. I'm going to predict that there's going to be more and more of this forward thinking, getting books out quickly, kind of like what we're doing with Downcast. Anyway, so let me know what you think about these changes for DC Comics. Is it a big deal? Is it not? Does none of this even matter? And I will see you in the next video.